as the song of God. It is said the song of God. But the conception of God varies from tradition to tradition. So many times people uh, question, or you can say they challenge, that you Hindus, because although Hindu is not the Vedic term, the original scriptural term is Varnashrama Dharma or Sanatan Dharma, but still in the modern context, Hindu is more prominent. So they say you Hindus are very confusing. Your religion is very confusing. You worship many gods. Some say that Hindus worship everything as God. Some say they have many gods. You may be seeing pictures in my back, the various photos, Radha Krishna. Then two more girls are standing. Who are they? Then to my left, the whole entire Ram Darbar. Then to my right, the picture is half cut. This is Lord Chaitanya and his party. Now, anybody who is not, and one more is there, is Lord Narasimha, half man, half lion. So people who are not connected to Vedic tradition in any way, or even the uh, modern generation, younger generation, those who did not get to hear anything about scriptures from their parents or grandparents. Like in our childhood, we used to hear lots of stories, lots of pastimes from Ramayana, Mahabharata. We used to watch serials also, devotional serials. So something we knew. Obviously, it was not in proper flow. Only after reading scriptures do we come to know what is what. And is God one or there are many gods? So there are several confusions about this, whom we call Creator, the Almighty, God, Bhagavan. There are so many Bhagavan in India. Every now and then one new Bhagavan comes in the market. So why I chose this topic is because although you all, whatever I'll be discussing today, it will not be very new, but I have tried to uh, draw the flow that how different traditions they think of God, what is their conception. So I will not be going in detail about different traditions view, but little bit we'll touch, and what is conception of God as mentioned in the Vedas, and how it is above. And so we are not just talking that because it's my way, that's why it's highway. Others way are downside. So we'll talk more about that so that we develop faith. My entire purpose of today's talk is that so that all of us get inspiration to read the Vedic texts, especially Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and apply the principles in our life. So we have heard several sessions before where you were listening directly from Bhagavad Gita and principles from Bhagavad Gita and its application in life. We will discuss that also. But this confusion, even after reading Bhagavad Gita, especially when I came to ISKCON, like in India, most prominent figure among the deities are Shiva and Vishnu. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, but still, even among Shiva and Vishnu, because our whole soul source of information about these about God and all was TV serials and some magazines here and there. Different authors are writing differently about God. So sometimes they would show Vishnu lying on Sheshnag. Sometimes they would show in some serials Vishnu sitting on a golden throne. So people get confused. What's the reality? Who is who? Some serial Shiva is shown supreme. Some serial Ganesha is shown supreme. And even, in fact, in today's time, in current situation, like especially from last 3-4 years, so many TV serials have come up. especially with the advanced animation technology, thanks to that. And everyone is making their own stories. One of my friend, he is in VFX animation. So he was working with the team of this serial called Hanuman, which was being telecast on Sony TV. I don't know whether it's continuing or not. So he said, I asked him, Ki, where do you get all these stories? I have never read that. He said what the director does is he picks one Purana and then he picks another Purana. Then he finds a story from here and some story from here. Then mixes it, and then it becomes a new story, and then rest is our job, animator's job. And people think, oh, this is new. The better the animation, the more the TRP. So this is what is being sold in today's market, but there's no connection to the reality. And because this is not real, this is just entertainment, it does not bring the change, the transformation in the heart. The purpose of Vedic literatures or purpose of any scripture is not information, it's transformation. People want peace, people want happiness, people want bliss in their life. And that's why they choose various options. And some, very few, they look for spiritual happiness. But even among that, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Prayan alpayushah sabhya kalavasmin yuge janah mandaha sumanda matayo manda bhagyayu padrutah. Srimad Bhagavatam says that in this Kali, this age where we are living right now, it is known as Kali Yuga. So it's an age of quarrel and hypocrisy. So Bhagavatam says that people's life are very short-lived. People have very short lifespan. At max 60, 70. In some cities, it is average lifespan is 70. Somewhere it is 75. Like nobody even lives up to 100 years. I mean, very few, and gradually it's decreasing. So they have very short lifespan, and if we analyze our life, first 25 years goes in learning, education, the next 25 years maintaining financial stability, and then old age. Where is the time to read the scriptures and understand the reality? So even if someone tries to look for spiritual master, Bhagavatam says, Mandaha Sumanda Matayo. First of all, people are lazy in this age. They are very lazy in terms of spiritual subject matters. Materially, they are very active. They have so many ambitions. Everyone is working hard. But nobody is trying to understand the self, realize the self. Nobody is asking these two questions. Who am I? What is the purpose of my existence? Nobody is asking this. The motto is Khao Piyo Maujuda. Eat, sleep, be merry. That's all. Nobody is asking. And that's the real question. What's the purpose of creation? Who am I? And science is in fact looking for these two questions. Science has not been able to answer till now. And there are more than 20 theories which is going on about the existence of creation of universe. And the most famous being Big Bang theory, which we all have studied in our schools. But recently it has been rejected. Good news. But still, everything is explained in Vedic scriptures. We'll see how. So before I begin my presentation, I would like to recite some prayers. It's in Sanskrit. It's called Mangalacharan. Mangal means auspicious. So this is to invoke the blessings of the Supreme Lord and his devotees, so that whatever we hear today, we may be able to apply in our life, and this inspires us to grow spiritually. So I'll share these prayers on screen also. If you are able to read Sanskrit, or you can recite with me, or you can just follow. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let's begin today's talk. Confusions about God. Further, before we move to the conception of God in Vedic literatures in Sanatana Dharma, we will see what other traditions think of God. And especially those who do not believe in God at all, who are known as atheists, and they're increasing in number, especially in this age. All glories to our Bollywood and TV serials and prolific writers. So it's very funny that people say, every person says that what I'm doing is best. So they make beautiful cartoons also, hilarious cartoons. There are almost 5,000 gods being worshipped by humanity. Don't worry, only yours is right. So everyone thinks that whatever I'm doing is right. But very few are ready to have a philosophical discussion. And our spiritual masters, our Param Guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to say that there are very few gentlemen in today's world. Gentleman, who is gentleman? Not the one who is dressed very nicely, wearing coat pant and looks like Tom Cruise. Not that. It's internal. A gentleman is one who accepts, who is ready to accept that yes, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, and if I accept that and agree to move on with the right knowledge, that person is called gentleman. In earlier times, they used to have shastrarth. No, shastrarth means scriptural debates. Especially India was divided in various educational zones. In towards the east there was Takshila. In Kashmir there was one university. Then Navdweep, which was in Bengal, Nadia, that was also very famous. Then in Bihar there was Nalanda, and then in south. So this big land which we know as India today, there were various universities, and each portion, each university and the students thereof were famous for a particular branch of our vast Vedic literatures. So many times they would have scriptural debates. But anybody those who were debating, whoever would come as a winner or who would prove his statements more logical or more sound, others would accept him and then follow. So like many people, they say that somebody is saying that I'm reading Quran, somebody is saying I'm reading Bible, somebody is saying I'm not reading any scriptural book, I'm following science. You people are following Bhagavad Gita. It's just faith. It's a matter of faith. Faith is a big topic. I have a separate presentation on that for 2 hours, but not the scope of today's session. So they say faith, it's a faith. So yeah, in one sense it is true. Everyone is having some faith, but faith should have some reason, some logic behind it. Otherwise, blind faith. So we are not blind followers of Bhagavad Gita. We openly say that if you bring a philosophy better than Bhagavad Gita, we are ready to leave it and follow that better philosophy. The point is one should be ready to discuss and accept, okay, this philosophy is better, so I'll follow this. Because every person is following some kind of philosophy. There is no one who can say that, no, I'm not following any philosophy. Those who are saying, I follow my mind, I follow what my heart says, that's also one kind of philosophy. What his heart is saying, what his mind is saying, it will vary if his surroundings change. Tell that person, if you were born in my family, your thinking would be different today. So our thinking, our willing, everything gets molded by the surrounding we are brought up in. So those who are saying that it's my thoughts, my opinion, actually it's no one's opinion. It is governed by our surroundings, people whom we have spent time with, and the kind of education we have received. So, but modern society being atheistic and materialistic, they think that all these theistic people, they are following different tradition. They are just blindly following some kind of faith, and they make fun of us. And somebody has painted this also, where you have Buddha, where you have Nanak, Christ, Moses, Krishna. Let's piece together our world. Why you are fighting? Peace is above. So this looks very beautiful. It's so nice, artistic impression. See, the painter is talking of a very high virtue. Peace is a virtue. So let's live together. And even our gods are living together. So any person who does not know anything about scriptures, he may get attracted by this kind of philosophy, bewildered. But one should read the books, one should read the scriptures properly. So Hinduism seems confusing, isn't it? So many gods. Other traditions, they say, we follow one God. We believe in one God. God is one. But you people worship so many. Yeah, we say 33 million demigods. You people worship so many. So that's the problem. Logically, it is right. And obviously, because Father can be only one. Father cannot be many. So God is only one. But we say, yeah, Vedas say that God is only one. But, and what other traditions say, they in fact say God, and look at one more artistic representation, amazing fact. I don't know where they get all this. Masjid 6 letters, church 6 letters, mandir 6 letters, Quran 5 letters, Bible 5, Gita 5. See, they all preach the same. 6 minus 5 equals to 1, God is 1. So God is 1. So these are the attempts of atheists to make fun of those who are following some kind of tradition. In our childhood, we used to read this poem, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, आपस में सब भाई भाई. But the point is, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, they can never become bhai bhai. Why? Because we have already differentiated. You are Hindu, you are Muslim, you are Sikh, you are Isai. So cooperation, everyone wants to live in cooperation, but every now and then there is conflict. But everyone wants to drive the world in his own way, drive everything in his own way. And those who support it are the well-wishers. Those who go against it, they should be removed by any means. And in some traditions, even if sword is to be used, it is allowed. So then those who are atheists, they say, you see, all this is because of religion. Religion causes war, religion causes problem. But statistics say something else. Ukraine and Russia are not fighting because of religion, due to religion. World War I did not happen because of religion. World War II did not happen because of religion. The biggest genocide in the history did not happen because of religion. So many things. In fact, there is a research by various scientists, and they have published in their several of the books that those who are following some kind of faith, they have a spiritual background, such people are more happier and they are more peaceful. So Hinduism not confusing, but more it requires proper understanding. So other traditions, they say this God, the word God, which means sometimes it is abbreviated as generator, operator, and destroyer. Their conception is like God is like a potter. God is like a potter. So he has carved, in fact, in Bible, they also say God is like a potter and he has made us out of clay. Obviously, this is an allegory. Not like we don't expect God to literally put his hands in clay and make humans out of the clay like that. It has a symbolical meaning. But people actually grow up with this understanding. In my childhood, I was probably in 7th or 8th standard. So I was in library, so I was reading one story book. We used to read this Nandan, Champak, Reader's Digest, several books we used to read. So there was one story that how God created humans, and it was Greek mythology. It was Greek story. So there it was explained that God was creating, God was making a human out of clay, and then he put, like a potter, he makes a pot and then he puts in the fire so that it becomes hard. So God made the human and he carved the human out of clay and then he put it in the fire and he was just experimenting. So it got burnt. The figure came out to be black. So then Africans came in existence. Then God again carved a human and then again he put in fire. This time different shade. So Asians. So like that God was experimenting. But Vedas explain this is very crude understanding of God. This is a symbolical expression. God has carved out of us out of clay. But what is that clay and how actually God does creation? So they don't go beyond this. Their tradition does not explain more about God. They say God is formless. They have not given any form to the God and no place to the God. God lives in heaven, but where? What is he doing? Why he created this world? No answer. No answer to that. So, and how actually he does creation? No answer to that. But when it comes to Vedic tradition, why they find it confusing? Because God has a form. God not only has a form, he has a very beautiful form and he has innumerable expansions. Once this famous painter, you have heard of Michelangelo? Have you ever heard of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci? They are famous painters. So Michelangelo once wanted to paint God, and I've heard this story. I've not verified it, so not blaming him. But Michelangelo wanted to paint God, so he approached several churches, and he asked about God. Who is God? How does he look like? So then various answers he got. God is the oldest, God is the supreme, God is creator, he is majestic, he sits on a high throne, he punishes the evildoers, he rewards the good doers, like that. So then with all these ideas he started painting, and because God is oldest, he is the creator, so obviously God has to have a white beard, and because he is very great, so he should be very tall in figure, he should have a big throne. So what comes out to be like a Dumbledore of Harry Potter movie. And then the most famous painting of him, of Michelangelo, is this one, where God is just pointing towards Adam. This is creation of Adam. It's a very famous painting of Michelangelo. Several people have tried to explain it in different ways. But the point is, why would God be less than his creation? Why God has to be old? That's the biggest question. Can't he control his old age? If God also becomes old with time, that means time is superior than God. Then how can he be God? God means omnipotent, omniscient. So the understanding of omnipotence is also very lacking in other traditions. Supreme Personality Godhead as described in the Vedas, this definition of Lord as explained in Shweta Shatra Upanishad, you'll find this very accurate. Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram, Tam Devatanam Paramam Chadaivatam, Patim Patinam Paramam Parastad, Vidam Devam Bhuvanesham Ityam. He is the controller of all other controllers. It's called Ishwara. Ishwara means controller. We all are controllers to some extent. I'm controlling my laptop, I'm controlling the AC flow, I'm controlling my room, I'm controlling things around me. So I'm a tiny Ishwara. But I don't have control over everything. Nobody can claim that I have control over everything. Above me is my superior, above him is his superior. I'm working in a company, I'm controller of few employees, above me is my boss, above him is CEO, owner, like that. Then government. So Supreme Lord is controller of all other controllers. He is greatest of all. Everyone is under his control. All entities are delegated with particular power only by the Supreme Lord. So we also believe in one God, and but others, his entire creation is filled with different different categories of controllers who get their powers from him only. But they are not supreme themselves. He is worshipable by demigods. He is the supreme director of all directors. He is transcendental to all kind of material leaders and controllers. There is no one greater than him. He is the supreme cause of all causes. And further it says, Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. He has nothing to do. He does not possess. Natat samascha vyadikascha drishyate. Prasya shakti vividhaiva shuyate. Swabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. So God does not have a bodily form like us, like an ordinary living entity. There is no difference between his body and soul. Now, this conception of soul, this concept of God, soul, reincarnation, life after death, it was there in Bible, and indirectly it is spoken in Quran also, in other traditions, but generally they reject it because they don't have proper explanation to it, so they reject it. They say there is only one life, and if you do good, God will send you to heaven for eternity. If you do bad, you will be doomed to hellish life for eternity. So again, the question comes that if God is supreme, his mercy should also be supremely, it should be unlimited. Why is he limiting his mercy to few years? What if I come to my senses at the end of my life? And then I realize, oh, I've done so many wrong things, but now death is awaiting. So where's the chance to reform myself? So why do we limit God's mercy to few years? He is unlimitedly merciful. But since it's not mentioned in the book, so they don't talk about it. And if others, they do talk about it and give a proper explanation, they outrightly reject it. Oh, this is not mentioned in our tradition. This is your faith. So this stops people, this stops the rigid followers or fanatic followers to increase their scope of understanding about God. So Upanishad says he is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Like our senses, these are material. We can see with eyes, we can taste with tongue, we can hear with ears. But we cannot see everything. We cannot see what is happening outside. It's limited. All the senses are limited and it can function only in one way. But Lord's senses are absolute. Any sense can perform work of any other sense. I mean, the definition of God, as you will find in Vedas, it is the topmost. There is no better definition than that. How can God be limited to? Whenever you say God cannot do this, that means that's not God. He's not God. He can do anything. So if I say God can speak through his ears, there's nothing to be surprised of. He is absolute, so he can do whatever he likes. All his senses are transcendental. And then we introduce the concept of Shakti and Shaktiman. His potencies are multifarious. God does not, he just wills. Like in Bible, it is said, let there be creation. God said, let there be creation, and there was creation. But how it happened, there are stages in creation, that's not explained. In Quran, they say that God created 6 heavens in 6 days. The question is why he took 6 days. If he is omnipotent, he could have done it in 6 seconds, or just by will it should have come. But why it took 6 days? So there is limit of time. So there is no proper explanation. But in Vedas it is explained. He has multifarious energies, and he just wills his energies does the thing. Like in science also, they have explanation of energy. Ultimately it comes to energy. But whose energy? When we say energy, we say whose energy? Like there is light energy in this room, but we know the source is there. There's bulb, there's tube light there. So energy means there is an energetic source. So Shakti and Shaktiman, this concept completes the definition of God, understanding of God. Obviously, he is unlimited, so nobody can explain him completely unlimitedly. But As much as it is explained in Vedic literatures, you won't find this explanation anywhere else. God is one, but the same God, his energies are also present as persons. His energy personified is Radharani or Sitaram. So same God is one God, he has innumerable expansions. So this becomes confusing to outsiders, non-Vedic followers. This becomes confusing to them. There is one person, but he has many forms. I mean, I am one, I cannot be two, I cannot be present at two places simultaneously. But God is one, but he has unlimited expansions. Not only the expansions are uh, look alike, but some expansions are, I mean, this will come next. Some expansions are like this also. Matsya is the body of a fish. Is like tortoise, kurma, then varaha, then half man, half lion. So this becomes more confusing to them. And all these forms are transcendental. One can have a relationship with these forms, and there are devotees who are worshipping these forms. Otherwise, we see in this world, people think that God cannot have this form. He cannot take this form because he is God. It will limit him, and they end up having a relationship with dog, cat, horses. In fact, nowadays people prefer relationship with animals. They trust animals more than humans. So, but God has all kinds of forms. It is explained that how he creates. The Supreme Lord has his own abode, then he has unlimited expansion in the spiritual sky, then in material world. I'm not going in detail about this. This whole topic of creation in itself is a uh, it's the entire fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you wish to read that, you can find all the explanations there. Then Krishna, he expands, has unlimited Vishnu forms. Then one of his expansion is Mahavishnu. This Mahavishnu gives birth to all the universes. Obviously, don't go by the painting only. It's not that he's just floating in the water. There's whole description of his abode. Then each universe which comes out of his bodily pores, single pores, each universe he enters as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Then he gives birth to all the he gives birth to Brahma, and Brahma is secondary creator. He creates all the planets and all. So this Vedic cosmology is a vast subject matter, explained in very detail. And this same Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, he expands and he enters in every atom. So God cannot be less than his creation. That's the main point to understand here. Brahma, who is the first-born living entity of this universe, he prays in his famous treatise, Sri Brahma Samhita. He says, Venum Kvanantamaravindalayataaksham Varahavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandarpakotikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. If God's creation is so beautiful, why would he be less beautiful than his creation? So Brahma explains because he saw the vision of God. He said he is always playing. He's adept in playing on his flute. He has blooming eyes like lotus petals. Cupid is considered the god of love. He is very beautiful, most beautiful personality in this universe. But thousands of cupids, thousands of millions of cupids, if their beauties combined together, still it will be less than the beauty of Supreme Lord. Because he is the creator, he is the supreme creator. Anything Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mama Tejo Amsha Sambhavam Yad Yad Vibhuti Mat Sattvam Srimad Urjitameva Va Tattadevavagachatvam Mama Tejo Amsha Sambhavam. Whatever splendorous we see in this world, whatever beauty we see in this world, whatever sparkling, attractive, dazzling, whatever you see in this world, he says it's possible just because of a tiny spark of mine. The soul, the presence of soul makes things beautiful. We have given shape to the buildings, skyscraper buildings, vehicles, gadgets. It's all because of presence of soul. Otherwise, raw materials are lying as it is. But the soul, the presence of soul makes things beautiful. The body, when soul is present in the body, it moves, it functions, it looks beautiful. The moment soul leaves the body, it starts rotting. Nobody likes to keep the dead body for more than one day. All the luster, all the beauty is gone. It was the soul which was making the body beautiful. But Supreme Lord, he does not take a body. His soul, his personality, his body, it's same. It's one thing. So he has a charming figure. He's all beautiful. It's not most beautiful, he's all beautiful. He's the reservoir of all beauty. So he creates and he expands. He has innumerable forms like that. Like famous Dashavatara you all have heard of. There are various incarnations. All these incarnations have a purpose. So this is how in Vedic tradition the conception of God is explained, and it's very detailed. It's very detailed. This is just a brief explanation. Now the question is, why do I need to know this? Because anything we learn, anything we hear, we should ask this question: what is the use of it? How am I going to be benefited? That's logical question. So Vedanta explains Janmadi asya yataha. Vedanta Sutra explains that everything emanates from him. If everything emanates from him, then all the distresses, all the problems in this world, are that also emanating from him? Yes. So does that mean does that not mean that God is cruel? It's a long discussion, but no, because everything emanates from him and he has given us free will. So happiness also emanates from him only. He is the source of happiness. And further Vedanta Sutra says in next aphorism, it says Anandamayo Abhyasat. The Lord is by nature full of transcendental happiness. And Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that all the living entities in this world, or Arjuna, are my part and parcels. Part and parcels. Krishna is not saying they are my parts, because part means when you remove the part, the whole lacks something. But Krishna says they are my part and parcels. Parcel means tiny God. Same. Like there is gold mine and gold particle. Quality is same, quantity is different. So Lord is blissful by nature, and we as soul are also blissful. But happiness, what we are looking for in various activities, we don't know because of lack of spiritual education that it is with Krishna. So people want to become happy, people want to become successful in life. And they say, Prabhupada used to say, people want God's creation, God's kingdom, but they don't want God. How can you, how can you use government facilities without acknowledging the government? How do we acknowledge the government? By paying our taxes. If we do not pay our taxes on time, or if we do not acknowledge the contributions or the development works by government, we will be termed as irresponsible or ungrateful citizens, right? Similarly, God, everything comes from him. Happiness also comes from him. We are looking for happiness without him, without bringing him to the center. He is at the center, even if we forget it. He is always at the center. Whether I accept it or not, sun will always rise from the east. Whether I keep my doors closed, whether I keep it open, it will not affect the sun. It will affect the amount of light in my room. If I keep it open, I will get proper sunlight. If I keep it closed, I will be in darkness. It does not affect the sun at all. People want to be happy, but without God. So that's the root cause of all the problems. Unless and until we add this element in our life, this spiritual element in our life, the cycle does not become complete. And with the incomplete cycle, we end up remaining unsatisfied and most of the times frustrated in our attempts. So Lord is not only source of all beauty, He is source of all pleasure also, and His abode is filled with such blissful pastimes. He comes here, He comes on this in this universe to show us you can say a trailer of His original movie going on in the spiritual world. Everyone can become part of that. Who does not like to play? Who does not like to sing? Who does not like to remain tension free, carefree? But in this material world, this is not possible. There are laws which are governing this world. And if you do not follow those laws, we get reaction. But Krishna is inviting us, Supreme Lord is inviting us, that my abode is filled with such beautiful pastimes. All of you just now saw before the session beautiful paintings. These paintings are not imaginations. These paintings are the artistic descriptions of what is given in scriptures, what is given in Bhagavatam. So the painters, they are all devotees. They heard it, they read it, and then they painted it. So it's not coming out of someone's imagination. And someone may ask, what's the proof that scriptures are word of God? Scriptures are real. So that's a separate topic. That will again take time. But I'm hoping that everyone is having faith on scriptures who are present here. So why should I put faith in scripture? That's again another topic. But the point is, we are not following blindly. So with a little faith we begin, we start this process of Krishna consciousness. Like we put faith everywhere. You go to a barber shop, you have complete faith that he will cut my beard or he'll cut my hair only. He'll not chop my head off. And with that faith, you close your eyes and relax on his chair. And then after he's finished, your faith gets verified. Oh, see, my faith was, he's faithful. I can trust him. And then you start preaching. Anyone asks you, is there any good barber in this society? Yeah, that's the shop. You go there. Because you become a preacher of that because your faith was verified. So in every activity, in every task which we perform in our day-to-day life, we put faith. Without faith, we cannot put our next step. What if the land slides? What if I go down? I have full faith that my next step, I'll not fall with my next step. The land is solid. But I cannot prove that without putting the next step. Or without someone else putting next step for me. So in every activity we put initial faith. It is required everywhere. Even the scientists, those who are followers of science, they say we don't believe in faith, we believe in reason. But how do we start the experiment, sir? In our school days, we used to do our practicals. Aim is to get this. Then apparatus required. Then procedure. And then after following the procedure, we write the result, whether it matched with the aim or not. Did you get the desired result? But how do you start the procedure without having faith? So faith is required everywhere. In fact, Kelvin said, on the entrance of science, on the main entrance of science, it is said one must have faith. And so many scientists, they believed in God, but we are not informed about that. That's why we think that scientists, they don't believe in God. Einstein believed, Newton believed, Max Planck believed, Heisenberg believed. So many, more than 50 scientists. And the list I have, there are more than 50 prominent scientists who believed in existence of God. And some of them even had very unusual experiments and findings, which was not propagated or popularized by the government. So we think that, oh, these scientists were atheists. No, that's not the reality. So then how to remain happy? When we come in touch with Krishna, touch with the Supreme Lord, who is source of all happiness, we also become happy. Prabhupada gave us, our Acharya gave a simple formula, A, B, C, D. Just associate with devotees, They're always happy. I did not get a better picture than this, so don't think that for becoming happy I have to wear saffron only. Only by wearing saffron I'll be happy, and I have to shave my head. No, I mean we have to associate with devotees, those who are following it in their day-to-day life. B is for books. There are vast treasure of literatures available in our society. Prabhupada wrote more than 80 volumes of books explaining all the aspects of God, His nature, and spoke on various topics related to current problems. And C is for chanting. Krishna says, Yajnanam Japa Yajnavasmi. Among all the sacrifice, all the acts of, all the pious acts, all the acts of sacrifices, the best is chanting of the holy names. Supreme Lord is Himself saying, not because we are chanting that's why it is the best. No, Supreme Lord is saying, chanting the holy name. And holy name, chanting of holy name, it is, you will find this in all the traditions. In Christians, they chant holy name of Lord. Muslims, they also chant. Sikhs, they also chant, they call it Guru Bani. So chanting, this glorifying Lord, chanting His names, this is in every tradition. And then D is for diet. Everyone wants to live healthy. So just add one element, Krishna says, just offer it to me. Offer it to me before eating anything. So we eat food in mode of goodness. There are different categories. Foods are also in different categories. But we eat food in mode of goodness, and not just goodness, in pure goodness. We offer it to Lord, it becomes prasad. And Krishna is inviting us. Come, take prasad with me. Be happy. So by this simple formula of ABCD, this may look very simple, but big leaders, we have people from all walks of life, all sections of the society. Those who are following this, understanding it, and becoming happy in their day-to-day life. So that's the real success of human life. So with this, I'll stop. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you very
If
much.
anyone has any question or comment, they can raise their hands and we will unmute them. Any question? Or any comments? Any feedback?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. It was very enlightening explanation about God. And I
I have
personally
received one message, direct message, like cloning. This was connected to some point. I'm not getting it. Because it's a direct message, I'm not taking the name. If you want to ask it, you can ask. Okay, thank you. No comments, no feedback. Okay, so we'll start with, okay, Arunima Mataji, yeah. Please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I don't have a question, but there's just a feedback that there are two things that I found the most thought-provoking here. The first one was that when you explained why the paintings which draw God as an old person are not technically right in a way, because then it will show that God is in a way inferior to time. That concept was very nice. And the second one was um, that to try to explain anything, to get to know anything, any science, we need to have some amount of faith to it. So spirituality is not unscientific, it is also science in a way. So these are the two things.
Thank you.
Okay, so We would like that, Roji, you also keep giving us your association in future success sutras of Bhagavad Gita. And we would like to thank you by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Okay, so we are closing this meeting, and you will get the information about next Success Sutra class in WhatsApp group. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.